My first attempt at doing an open website in an academic context has been for my ESRM 492 Service Learning in New Orleans class. And this is a class wherein we have some component here on campus, but the bulk of the time spent is actually in New Orleans, is outside of California. And this was my first attempt at a tool that would be both serving to the students in the class, but also help try to bring the experience to folks outside of the class, folks outside of the academic environment, and a first stab at being a collaboratory space. So let's take a look at what we did.
Here's our site. The most important page is the front page, is the landing page, and that's also our blog. We have our logo here, we have a couple links we'll talk about in a second, and then we have just a little bit of background info about what we do. This is where students will post, this is where I would post information, and this is the main place that people would interact with the website. In addition to this, we have a host of other pages. We have an About page, we have a page talking about course information, etc. If you click on any of these, you'll get additional information such as information about our class, what this whole thing's about, a little mini version of a syllabus, etc. In addition to those things, we have a couple of things that are highlighted here at the top of our page. The first is pictures and videos. On this page, you'll find our multimedia. These are some plugins that I've added here. In this case, this is one grabbing recent images from our Flickr stream, the same thing down here. This next button, Where Be We, was a failed experiment. The idea here was to geotag our posts. It did not work well. I tried a bunch of different things. It just simply didn't work. But the idea was to have been you could have followed us in real time without us having to do anything. The posts themselves, the pictures themselves would generate the geotags and people would be able to follow our trip through this map. As far as how we got information onto our blog, we had a couple different ways. In general, we mixed pictures, and these are easy to change the size of these, but pictures with video. Now, we didn't host any of the video ourselves. All of the video is posted to an external site, in this case YouTube. That keeps the data management, the amount of memory we have to dedicate to this on our service, to a minimum. Video really eats up memory. We have a mix of post types. Some are reflective, such as these that students have entered. Others are much more simple, such as a simple post like this, a picture that a student posted. In my original conception, this website was generally to be a tool for reflection and student engagement. And that did definitely happen. But it turns out it perhaps was most important after the trip. And it really was quite valuable. Many students comment on this, that it functioned as a travel log and a source for post-trip scholarship. What did we do on this day? What did we do on that day? Oh, I forgot about that. And so it's been a wonderful archive for my students that went on the trip. That's the first thing. Second thing is that it really was quite important for many of our students. Most of our students are first-generation college goers. And in years past, some people, oftentimes moms, would call up and email and text and check on their students. They were worried about their students, first time they've ever been out of the state. And we got essentially none of that this trip. And anecdotally, that was because everybody's parents, everybody's friends, everybody's colleagues were following us through the blogs. They didn't feel they needed to call and check on their sons and daughters and this and that. So that was a wonderful benefit from this. Of course, also, this tool allowed other people to follow our trip, not just our students, not just their immediate friends, and we got a lot of positive comments from folks in Louisiana, folks in California, etc. So in summary, this was a great first try. A lot of things I was not super happy with, and there's a huge amount of room for improvement with this. But as a first try, I think this was great. This is a wonderful tool. I think it's going to be really helpful for classes in the future, especially service learning experiences. And we plan on continuing to use this tool here in the Environmental Science and Resource Management program at California State University, Channel Islands. Thank you.